Hey guys, Lorena Magana here with New Filmmakers Los Angeles. Today, I'm talking to director Mark Cummins about his new film, The Best Girl Part of You. Let's take a look at a clip from the film.
I shouldn't. I'm practicing my French.
I've been practicing something myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and here's a hint. It's guaranteed to have you in stitches. I don't want to needle you, but it's an easy one.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Only big guy knows how considerably I had to cheat to earn my Girl Scout merit badge in sewing.
So I'll see you in 5 minutes?
Yeah. Scout's honor.
Mark, why don't you give our viewers a brief synopsis of your film, The Best Girl Part of You?
The film is about two teenagers, a boy and girl who've been friends since they were young. And after the boy's mother commits suicide, he starts to unravel. And in the course of this behavior, she discovers that she not only cares for him as a friend, but has romantic feelings for him.
How did you come into contact with this story that this movie's based off of?
I came into contact with the book because her stories, Amy Hempel's the author, they were collected finally in the early or mid-2000s essentially. And she had been an underappreciated American short story writer. She doesn't publish that often, and so this was sort of an event for all her stories to be collected in one volume. And at the time I bought the book and read some of the stories in it, and I liked it, but I didn't think someday I would try and make a movie out of it. And a few summers back, I was going to a friend's wedding, and I just needed a book to read for a long train ride. And I just picked up her book because her stories are very short, and I just thought it would be nice to be able to page through something instead of have a massive novel I felt like I was carrying to this wedding. And I don't know if I'd read it before or if it was just something about the venue in which I was reading it, but I was paging through it and I saw the title, The Most Girl Part of You, and I just was like, that is such a great title. And I just wanted to, read that immediately. And so I read that story, got to the end of it, and was just blown away by it, and started it, went back to page one to see how did she do what she did? How did this story, which I thought was going one direction, end up being this thing, and in such a satisfying way. And at the time, I had written another short film. I had a screenplay that was in a similar vein amongst teenagers in New York at an all-boys school. And I abandoned that project because it was too hard to shoot in New York, and I didn't sort of have the resources to do that. And I decided, at some point during that train ride, I said I could make this story into a short film that would be similar thematically, but actually would be more positive than the movie I had originally written myself. This is a movie that's a short film that's about a person who actually gets what they want, but maybe not in the way they thought they would get it.
Was the author very open to having her book adapted into a film?
I don't know if she was reluctant to give up the rights, but I think she is, she is an artist who is just concerned with her own life and teaching, and also just, I think, probably hard to sort of communicate with. Originally, I found an email address and I emailed with her, and it seemed like she was amenable to the idea. But after that initial email exchange, I didn't hear anything for months, actually, and I started to get nervous that she had this cold feet and just didn't want to engage. And so I was afraid that if I didn't have the clearances and her written explicit permission that this movie wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So after some failed attempts to leave a voicemail for her, her phone number just didn't have a voicemail. It just kept ringing. And I just wasn't getting any email responses. I thought it would be a good idea to try to meet her in person. But I was really just trying to Shanghai her because she didn't know I was going to show up. So I went to her office hours. I took a bus from New York to Boston. I was home. I live in New York. And I thought maybe I'll introduce myself and she'll find it charming rather than creepy. And as it turned out, it was reading period at Harvard where she was teaching. And so nobody was there. And it was just the stupidest trip I'd ever taken. But I wrote a note on the back of the release I had brought with me explaining why I had come and hoping that she would think it was creepy and devotional, in keeping with the behavior of the protagonist in the story. And like a week and a half or two later, I finally heard back from her saying that, you know, she just had been very busy with teaching, and of course, you know, I could adapt it, and, you know, she was looking forward to, you know, she was happy to allow me to work with it. It was a story she had written years ago, probably in the early 80s, so.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Well, it was my pleasure, yeah.
Yeah.